welcome. Kim here from JustAskKim.com with another Just Ask Kim marketing roundup. And this week, Facebook has been all over the news. Everywhere you turn, it's been Facebook this and Facebook that, and Facebook changes this and Facebook broke that, and Facebook leaked your security too. So be sure you're aware of that. Let's jump in. If you haven't noticed, as I mentioned, there have been umpteen changes to the Facebook platform this week. So you're really going to want to keep your head around these and make sure you're aware of the things going on. At a higher picture level, though, at a really overview level, it's important that you understand that Facebook is essentially ditching friends. And that's not to say that they've gotten rid of you having friends, but that the idea of Facebook as a closed network and the idea of Facebook as an approval model and the idea of Facebook as a walled garden, so to speak, is gradually fading away. We saw that start with some of the early newsfeed changes, and then we saw it come up again when they offered you the ability to have subscribers. And now we see it yet again with the arrival of hashtags. And hashtags are all over the platform the moment, giving everybody just either fits or delight. People either love them or they hate them, but at the moment, what we're seeing is that hashtags are still being overused simply because they're new and novel. I'm sure you remember the week that Facebook brought out the icon for the chat comments where you could make a pile of poop. You know, for several days there was poop all over Facebook. And that's really where we're at with hashtags at the moment. We have hashtag run amok because everybody's having some fun. Everybody's exploring what we can do with them, what works, what doesn't, checking out the security, checking out the feel of them, checking out what just may be the best way to use these things. So if hashtags are driving you nuts, be sure to just give yourself a little time, back away, let everybody else have their fill, and it'll cool down, I promise. They're not going to go away. Hashtags are definitely here. They're a very old tool. They belong to almost every major social media channel out there, and Facebook is very late to the game with getting hashtags. But at the same time, at the moment, everybody's excited, so there's a bit too much going on. That's going to chill out. Don't let it bother you. Be sure, though, to pay attention to using hashtags in a smart way in your marketing. Being sure to tag a couple, a single, one, two, maybe three tops, appropriate items when you share a discussion or something newsworthy on a particular topic. That way, if somebody else is following a newsfeed thread of these hashtags and continuing to refresh that and look at what's being shared, they're going to see your stuff. It's a great way to get seen. And that is actually, again, where we see Facebook's model having shifted. Nowhere before has it been this easy for people to hone in and drill down into content that you're sharing and for you to get found by people who aren't yet your friends. Yes, you could do a public search before, but the public search was so clunky and so cluttered that it was very unuseful for most people. But now that you can drill into hashtags, you can start to find people who are talking about things you want to hear. And that opens it up more as a public channel. And what you start seeing is Facebook moving towards more of that public model, less of that private model. And that comes with all the privacy permission changes we've also unfortunately seen over time. Just as you see other platforms also mostly favoring that blended public and private model that's somewhere in the middle. We see a lot of these social sites coming towards a very common center, a very common goal. And at the same time, that leaves it open for niche sites to really thrive. And that's why sites that are very niche, sites like Path, sites like, for example, Instagram, while Instagram was only photo, little niche sites are definitely still thriving in this ecosystem because everybody else is trying to be everything to everyone. So you got to pay attention to what Facebook is doing. Now, and a couple other things we got going on this week, Facebook made major improvements to the ad insights available to you if you're doing Facebook pay-per-click advertising. You'll notice an improvement in reporting, an improvement of awareness of essentially what you bought got you. And that's great to see. We've needed that. We've needed that for sure. The ad platform is Facebook's bread and butter. And we've seen just this week many people coming up and standing up and saying, oh my goodness, the new in-stream ads actually work. And major media channels have gone from just last year saying that Facebook ads don't work, Facebook ads are a waste of money. You know, we saw, I believe it was GM who said they were no longer going to do Facebook advertising, to people now saying that with strategically launched in-stream Facebook advertising, they're getting better click-through, better brand awareness at a decreased cost compared to using Google pay-per-click. And this is something you got to really watch, that Facebook has really turned that ship around. And that's why there is such a focus on Facebook to get these ads going and get them working. And the thing is, they're getting there. They definitely are. Sure, it hasn't brought stock prices up yet, but you got to give them some time to get it going, get it stable, and get everybody aware of the fact that, oh my goodness, it's working. You know, I don't think that most of us who'd followed Facebook actually expected them to get this right. We knew that they were in a position to have a shot. We knew that they definitely had something going on, but we also knew how much we ourselves push back against ads, and so we weren't sure they were going to manage this. And to see them doing that is very good for the company. It's very good for the longevity of the platform. It's very good for a lot of different things. Now, if they can pay attention to appeasing the people on the platform that actually like the platform, they'll be in good shape. Lately, people are starting to get aggravated at the platform, though, and that's increasing. And we're starting to see teens looking for other items, and we're starting to see teens too upset that mom and dad and grandma are on the platform. But mom and dad and grandma on the platform means that the platform is going to stay relevant for a while, because those people are not quick to jump ship. So if your market is the teen market, you may have to watch where they're going. But at the same time, if you're looking for that more stable, you know, middle-aged market to even early senior market, you're definitely in Facebook at the right time. The platform is stable and still showing signs of growth within those markets. So it's definitely something to be aware of what Facebook is doing. We got some other neat tools this week. We got the ability to add images into comments. And adding images into comments, again, was one of these things that when it first came out, it got overused. And it's not something that I would say, oh my goodness, we had to have, it was a deal breaker if we didn't get. But what it solves is the whole lack of emoticons and icons and dislike buttons and all that. Because now if you find somebody's post completely blatantly stupid, you upload the picture of the face palm. You know, you upload a graphic that just shows just how exasperating and how lame that was, or some meme or some comic or something that visually wraps up the things that take too many words to say but need said. All of a sudden, this kind of completes the discussion cycle. And sure, it's something that's totally been done before. MySpace, all the way back in the day, Tom Anderson had this feature. This is one of many old features that Facebook is finally getting rolled in. We're seeing them show up as new features, but they've been old features on many other platforms. A lot of people will be thrilled to see these, and hopefully these will actually slow down the push for a dislike button and the push for a I could care less button. Yes, we understand that those could feel useful, but at the same time, Facebook has to control those and make sure that those don't factor in, because those can lead to real griefing, and those can lead to trolling trouble that's not easy to control, and those can lead to a lot of other trouble. And Facebook wants an individual's profile, an individual's personal wall, to always feel a place that that person feels supported. And so if that started generating a lot of dislike or I hate or I could care less type feedback, the individual isn't going to want to use Facebook. So you got to remember where Facebook is coming from with this. You got to remember what they're trying to control for, and that we have to keep Facebook this I want to be here centric model. And that's what that's accomplishing. But the pictures in the comments definitely help with that. They also create another source for advertising, because if you click on the pictures that are in the comments, you'll notice that they're getting ads beside them. Something's going on there. Definitely a new place for Facebook to throw some extra ads. Another one that you may have seen is that if you have a Facebook page, you now can sort the comments. If you already had the replies to replies feature turned on, where you could do threaded commenting, you may have noted that it was sorting the top entry to the top, and this would totally break up the flow of discussion, and there was no way around that. So now you can force these within your view to show most recent. And so if you're having trouble reading the thread, just click it over to most recent. However, everybody is able to sort their own, so your visitor may also want to flip theirs over to do this, or may prefer to see top and may prefer to see what their friends are seeing. Something else you can do on your page now, and not everybody's got, appears to be beta rollout, is that let's say you share a post from your blog and Facebook picks the wrong thumbnail, and the wrong thumbnail is pulled for this link that you've shared. Well, now in pages that have this, under the icon, you got the little square icon, there's a little line there that says upload image. And if it's picked up the wrong image, you can give it a better image. This is also useful if you're sharing posts or resource articles from blogs, websites, and content that just are not making great use of images. Sometimes we want to share something because the content is good, but it's visually so terrible that we know if it goes down our feed like that, it's just not going to generate any clicks. So you're going to find that you're going to want to pick up some images just to put in a little folder that you keep hold of those images, and when you want to share something that doesn't have a great image, you'll use one of these little stock images that you've got, and that will allow you to improve the display of those in your feed, and so that they'll get more clicks. Definitely something that, again, we've wanted for a long time, and again, not every page has got, but I've already been putting to pretty good use. There's a lot of times that that's coming in incredibly helpful. You can't do it for videos, you can't do it for Flash, you can't do it for a number of other things, but at the same time, being able to do it for links, that's mostly where we need it. Another thing that we've got coming up is the Facebook Android beta program. If you happen to be an Android user, Facebook has offered you an opportunity to join their beta program and to beta test their app and to get a version of their application that has a report feedback button down in the menu. And when it's down under your menu button, it'll come up, little Android dude says report feedback, and you can report feedback on what you're seeing, what is working, what isn't working, what's broke, what needs done better. And this is Facebook essentially taking advantage of the crowdsourced model of Android development, which has been a big part of Android's development for a long time, and letting the community give feedback on getting this app right. Because anybody that uses Android knows that Facebook has been unable to get the Android app right. And so this is going to let the community finally poke Facebook a bit and say, hey, fix this. I've left quite a bit of feedback already. If you enjoy giving feedback, it's definitely something to jump in on. The app beta version is actually still a stable version, so I didn't find that it was blatantly broke. But if that's not something you want to mess with, then don't worry about it. Let it go. Let people who are willing to give feedback, to jump in on that program and take care of it. One other big security notice this week from Facebook is that Facebook made a big announcement that they had a very serious security breach. As much as 6 million email addresses and phone numbers may have been compromised by your friends being able to download and export that data that normally they wouldn't have had access to. If you'd had it set to like you only, or only available to a certain list and they weren't necessarily on that list, the export tool to export data was actually giving all your friends access to that kind of stuff. Okay, so the stuff pretty much stayed within friends, and it wasn't that one person got access to it all, but at the same time, individuals that were manipulative and individuals that are going to be trouble and individuals that have resold a bunch of this data are confirmed as having a bunch of it within their hands. Not necessarily all of it, not all 6 million, but we do know that some of it has already fallen into the wrong hands. That's sad, that's disappointing. It does, however, happen with technology. Again, that's a risk you take when you take on working with a technology platform, when you are in a digital environment. Accidents do happen, and this is definitely the case of bug or accident. Facebook rushed to close the hall. I think Facebook did the right thing. There was no attempt to brush this under the rug. They came right out and said what had happened, how it had happened, where it had happened, who reported it, and that they'd fixed it. I think all in all, Facebook did the right thing in this. It's disappointing it happened, but that's going to happen. We have that from every technology company out there, but you do need to be aware that if you start getting an inordinate amount amount of spam, it may be because that email address made it into wrong hands. So that is Facebook in the news all over the place today. I hope that this roundup has given you an opportunity to stay current on what's new and current and hot in social media marketing. You might also want to check out, not only in addition to this podcast, which has its own podcast feed, but my new and upcoming podcast, which is Social Media News Bites, which are little 30-second to 2-minute sound clips that help you stay current on what is breaking news, what's going on in the media. It runs much more often than this segment does, whereas this is more of an overview and a deep dive into a bigger picture of the market, where that is going to be little clips and little topics, and you can sort through it more as a ticker. Look at the things you want to see, look at the things that work for you, read through the things you want, and just skim through that feed a lot more quickly and a lot more efficiently. So be sure to check out that podcast as well. All right, this has been Brink-Castleberry, and I'll catch you in the next Marketing Roundup.